Saltburn, directed by Emerald Fennell, is the follow-up to the 2020 smash success Promising Young Woman. This is a very hotly anticipated sophomore release just because Promising Young Woman gave us so much buzz and so much to talk about, and whether you really loved that movie like I did and a lot of other people did, or really hated it, it gave she at the very least gave us a extremely thrilling and hard to keep your eyes off of film with that. It was very provocative in a way. And in other ways it wasn't. I don't know. This is not a review of Promising Young Woman, but that movie created a lot of buzz, right? And that's important to bring up with Saltburn because when we first got word of this movie, I think, at the very least I did earlier this year, it immediately piqued my interest, even just by the name. I didn't know anything about it, but just with Emerald Fennell being attached and it being called Saltburn, I don't know, something about it really caught my eye. And then who they casted in the movie, the trailer footage, what the kind of story was being told here, it all felt purposefully like you knew you were going to be in for a ride with this movie. It very much felt like the marketing was trying to tell you immediately, like, this is going to be a strange experience. This is going to be divisive, and I kind of like that. I like that Emerald Fennell really laid all of her cards out on the table and was like, I'm going to double down on this kind of filmmaking that I like doing and had success with in Promising Young Woman, and turn it up to 11. And that is exactly what we got with Saltburn. I can very happily relate to you that Saltburn is another one of my favorite movies of the year. They just keep coming. I don't know what it is, but 2023, especially in its back half, has just knocked it out of the park with new releases as of late. Like, November was fantastic. I guess this is also technically a November movie. Yeah, wow. Saltburn was such a unique movie in its approach, and such a unique movie in the way it decided to tell its own story, that I can see why some people aren't connecting with it. There's been a surprising amount of pushback, like a lot more than anything Promising Young Woman ever got, or even a lot of these kinds of movies usually get, because you get the normal "I don't get it, what is that" kind of reviewers, and like they die out after the first week. So like the Jeremy Jans, those kinds of guys, they fall to the wayside, and people start to formulating their own opinion on a movie. Um, and but even people whose opinions like I respect and can take seriously, I guess, have said that they really hated the movie, and I was shocked when I first heard that, because I thought it was going to be a home run amongst that crowd. But even then, some people who are diehard Promising Young Woman fans hated Saltburn. So there's so much to digest with this movie and what it's trying to say, that yeah, I found it to be endlessly entertaining, so well acted, and I think my favorite part of Saltburn was piecing together what it all meant, and why Emerald Fennell chose to tell the story in this specific way. So I want to talk about that first of all. I'm not going to get into any spoilers. I'm not going to tell you anything that happens here, but I'm going to talk around them. So if you want to go into this movie not wanting anything, like you just blind like I did, I avoided every spoiler I possibly could. I would just recommend skipping past this. However, I think that there is a certain moment in the film where our character, Barry Coogan, Oliver Quick, his name was, starts to turn into something completely different. And that kind of face turn that he does is pretty abrupt, and a lot of people are taking issue with the fact that he, there wasn't any development there. There wasn't any, big inciting incident to make him like this. And I felt that the quick and sudden change was warranted, and I liked that decision. I understand where people are coming from with that, so I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I've heard that complaint a lot, and I understand it with this movie. Um, just the different moving pieces throughout Saltburn to inevitably get to its conclusion don't make sense as they're happening to you, but make complete and total and almost stupid sense to, at least to me, a couple hours after the fact. This is not a movie that I would say trust your initial reactions on, at least with, partially, especially if you don't like it. But that's besides the point. Um, the way each character interacts with each other, the way that Oliver really interacts with each character, is so like again so on the nose that it's subtle. Like it's very plainly being fed to you. It's not trying to reach for super deep meanings. It's not trying to you know be this like an A24 movie where like this shot means 7 different things, and it's a metaphor for 8 different Greek myths or something like that. There's not a lot of that going on here. At least that's what I was picking up on. But I think like that is the point. So I got a little off track there. But what I was trying to say is that Saltburn is kind of a movie that wants to piss you off. It's trying to provoke you. It's trying to get a reaction out of you by showing you all of these provocative things, like these provocative scenes of really awful stuff that is just weird and unexplainable. And I think that it's kind of like egging you on to find a deeper meaning, and then to like not really find one and be pissed off about it. And like I feel like it's trying to detract that like kind of thinking about like the lack of media literacy within a lot of movie reviewers. I'm sure you've heard this conversation exacerbated on TikTok somewhere, so I'm not going to bring it up again here. But it does kind of play into that, and I really, really liked the subversion of expectations there. Another thing I want to comment on is the themes of parasocial relationships in this movie, which again also kind of tie into the frustration of the film. I felt like that was the most apparent theme throughout, and the most obvious thing going on, and that was all done just beautifully. Very, very for as messy and chaotic as the individual storytelling is here, it kind of wraps up pretty nicely by the end, and feels very thought out and methodical when you're looking back on it. Moving out from the storytelling, because obviously that was my favorite element of the movie, into the cinematography and stuff like that, because it plays so much into that like almost dreamlike haze that the storytelling wants to put you in, this lull of confusion, I guess. The shots, how they're almost egging you on to find a deeper meaning. They're almost like messing with you as you're getting more and more frustrated throughout the movie with what's happening. And I don't know, it very much adds to the feeling of uncanniness to Barry Coogan's character Oliver. It was done awesomely all throughout the board there. The shots were great. They were composed beautifully. They really tied into the screenplay, what the movie was trying to say. The sets were all gorgeous. It's one of, honestly, probably my favorite looking movie of the year, just because of it's very much the exact kind of style of movie that I love. And it's very like, my biases are this movie's winning points because of my certain bias to that kind of filmmaking. But points for that. The editing was fantastic, but really what I wanted to talk about was the 2 lead performances from Jacob Elordi and Barry Coogan. They obviously have been the most heavily marketed side of this movie. So yeah, both of them I feel are people that get too much flack just because they are like teenage girls' obsessions. I guess that's like the baseline thing. They are, TikTok idols. They are, loved by a lot of younger people and are idolized, right? And a lot of people give them shit for that. I'm not above that. I do that to Timothy Chalamet all the time. I can't stand him, and that's mainly the reason why. But I think what he lacks and what these two guys have is range. Jacob Elordi, I think, is playing a very different character than what we're used to, because in almost everything else that he's in, Priscilla, what else has he been in? Euphoria, obviously. His character has a position of power. He may seem sympathetic and emotional and, has a softer side, but he normally has the power in whatever situation he's in, and he's manipulating it to his benefit. In this movie, that role is reversed to Barry Coogan, who is normally this very nerdy, shy, creepy dude that is just off in the shadows the entire time. And it's such an interesting switch of dynamic, and they both play it up so well. And honestly, I didn't think that, I knew Barry Coogan had this kind of performance in him. We all did, and he nailed it. Like, he is so good at playing weird little freaky people, and he he just gets to do that, but at a magnified level here. So obviously it's great. With Jacob Elordi, though, he isn't used to playing this kind of vulnerable, naive person that you can't tell is he in control, or is he being played the entire time. And that was such an interesting dynamic to play with. And I feel like it was just such great casting that it had to be praised. So kind of wrapping up my thoughts here, I think that Saltburn is such an achievement of creativity and self-expression, I guess, because this is just such a Emerald Fennell movie to make, and it's fantastic because of that. And obviously everything else I just mentioned, but that all stems from Emerald Fennell being as creative and thoughtful and entertaining as she is as a director. So major props to her. I loved this thing. I felt like it just hit every button I wanted it to hit, while also being completely different than what I was expecting. So Emerald Fennell is definitely in the conversation for one of my favorite directors currently working. So yeah, Saltburn was fantastic. I am going to give it a really strong A. Other than that, I don't have too much else to say. This is a little bit of a more messy review, but I wanted to do this more unscripted for Saltburn just because this is such a hard movie to talk about without spoiling anything. So I felt like I needed to just, kind of flow there with the thoughts and figure it out as I went through. So let me know if you guys kind of like that style of filmmaking for these for the these style of videos, the more unscripted stuff, like unfiltered, me just kind of, talking about the movie I saw for these. I like to do it for these kinds of movies that are, more metaphorical or more are weirder and are out there. What I'm talking about, like Saltburn, like Dream Scenario, like Poor Things when that comes out. So let me know if you like this kind of format. If you don't, let me know down in the comments. Leave a like, leave a subscription. Cameron, do you want to talk us out here?
Okay, wait, here I come.
Here she comes.
Make sure to hit that like button, hit that notification bell so that when he posts, you can get right on that and watch his videos. Make sure to subscribe and support and comment all of your loves for him, and thank you for watching.